How to play Mastermind. If you've never heard of it, it's I believe originally a board game. It's one-on-one, and one person is going to make a code while the other person tries to break the code. I'm sure you can play a flash version of this on the web against a computer. It's on iOS, and I'm sure it's on Android also. Matter of fact, let me pull up the board game version here. This is on Amazon. I'm sure you can find it at Target or Walmart for like $10. See, one side is where a code will be made by one person, and the other person has to guess the code. Each of these rows are an attempt at guessing the code. Be much easier to explain in the actual iOS version. If you want to pull up the App Store, just search for Mastermind. It's going to be multiple versions of the game. They're all essentially the same. I went with Code Guess, and what I liked about it is that it supports Game Center. And if you're unfamiliar with that, it's basically like the Xbox Live or the Steam of iOS. And as you can see here, it very much resembles a board game. Some of them are not so much like that, but it is the same concept. And this particular one has achievements and profiles, and it logs all your games, which is pretty cool. It's 99 cents, but if you'd rather just try out the free version, I would just grab Guess the Code Free. It's got pretty good ratings, so I'm sure it's exactly the same. Alright, let's go ahead and launch it. And we got here a clean board. Now the computer has generated a code for me to guess, and each of these rows are going to be for each of my guesses as I get closer and closer to the code. These smaller peg slots here are going to be for the feedback that the computer gives me. So, for example, the very first time I played this, I just threw down any random pegs. For example, green, blue, purple, red. Okay, now we got feedback. A white peg tells me that and we have two of them, so that means two colors here belong but are in the wrong position. Now, two missing pegs down here means that two of these don't belong at all. We'll guess that green and purple were correct, but those white pegs mean they're in the wrong order, so we'll just move them around here. And that leaves blue and red, not that they don't belong, so I'm going to throw in orange and yellow in their spot. Okay, now we have a black peg. So one of these colors are not only correct, but it's also in the correct spot. And we added an orange, so I'm going to say that that orange is in the correct spot, and then I'll move around the purple and green again. We'll put purple here, and green over here, and let's say red wasn't supposed to be there, so we'll use... what haven't I used yet? I used them all already? So that's where it gets kind of ambiguous when you're not using a very systematic method. See, now look, I'm just going backwards again. Let's just go ahead and see what the answer is. Alright, so it was red, orange, green, yellow. Now where I had these two white ones was because I had this red correct, but it was in the wrong spot. And the other one was green. Green was correct, wrong spot. Blue and purple didn't belong at all. Where I got this black peg was for this yellow one. See how this yellow lined up? So that's where it gave me the black peg. Orange was in the wrong spot for one of the whites, and green was in the wrong spot. That's the other white. And then that missing one is telling me that this purple doesn't belong. As you can see, it's not a very systematic method, and I do have one that I'm going to share. But before I do that, I encourage you to go play the game, see if you can come up with your own strategy on how to solve the code. If it's different than mine, please share it, because I would like some new strategies. I do love playing this game with people, as well as against the computer. So if I can get some new strategies or some new ways to make a more challenging code for my opponent, I would love to hear what you got to say about that. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new game here. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to go ahead and try it, and then just hit play when you're ready to see my strategy. Alright, so without further ado, here's how I like to tackle the code. I'll first lay down 4 of the same color. Now what this does is I'm going to start eliminating which colors aren't in the code. But right off the bat, we know that there's an orange. And of course it's a black peg because they're all orange. We're going to keep half of the code as orange and make the other half green. Okay, we didn't get any new pegs. So that means green is not in the code. And the peg turned from black to white. So where I put these greens is where an orange is supposed to go. But before we start worrying about positions, let's continue eliminating other colors. Okay, there's no red because it was the same situation as the green there. New peg. So I just added blue, so that means blue belongs. Now that because they're both white, we know that one of these correct blues belongs over on this side, and one of these correct oranges belongs over on this side. But let's figure out what the other two colors are first. two new pegs when I added two purples. That means there's an orange, a blue, and two purples. In fact, one of those purples are in the correct spot because there's a black peg. So we'll leave one, and we had concluded that the orange belonged on this side, and a blue is on the other side, and there's one more purple. Alright, I have them all in the right position. I have all the right colors in the wrong position, and because I had these two oranges all the way through, I've just created two halves. So all I have to do now is switch each of the halves. So that would be blue, purple, orange, purple. There we go. Hope that wasn't too confusing. I'll run through it one more time, or a couple more times here. Okay, there's an orange. There's a green, and then so far the orange, the two oranges, one of them are right in the right spot, and of the two greens, one of those are in the right spot. So we have orange and green, and we have a red. But one of those reds are in the wrong spot because that black peg was from the original two oranges. And what's the final peg? It's blue. Okay, so we know green and blue are on this side because of those black pegs. No purple. And what are the other colors? Orange and red. There you go. I've earned the title of master. There's one other scenario that I kind of wanted to come up so I can explain it. Let me zip through this real quick. Ooh, two blues, a green, and an orange. So we'll do orange, green. Oh, those blues are in the wrong spot. See, what's really nice about when you add two colors and get two whites is that you know that both those blues are correct, but they're on the wrong side. So both of those are blue. The scenario I want to come up is when you throw down four colors and you get no feedback, like that. Alright, we got four oranges here and got nothing as far as feedback. We're still going to put two oranges to divide the code into halves and kind of use these two oranges as a mask to reduce that ambiguity of the feedback. And I'll show you what I mean. See, right there we know that both of those greens are correct. Now we just got to figure out what the other two colors are. One of them's red, and no blue, and one's purple. So now all I have to do is do red, purple, and those greens are correct. And now we have two white pegs, which means I switched the red and the purple. There you go. So it's a pretty fun game. Again, share any strategies you have. Buy the game if you want to play with your friends. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, and have fun.